Which under the radar Super Bowl players and matchups could make all the difference in who raises the Lombardi Trophy? What's going on, Bang Bang Niner gang? Chiefs Kingdom. It's Mitch back here with another Super Bowl 58 breakdown. And in this video, I'm going to give you my Super Bowl X factors. Throw up that X for Super Bowl 58. These are the Super Bowl X factors, game changers, the underrated matchups, the underrated players. Not the Brock Purdy or the Patrick Mahomes or the Travis Kelce or Deebo Samuel, Chris Jones or Nick Bosa, but the players that could really turn the tide of who wins this Super Bowl. These are the players that you must watch out for. Gronk, spike the like button. Don't forget to let me know in the comments section below who you think will make all the difference. Who is your X Factor in Super Bowl 58? Don't forget to subscribe for more Super Bowl content and NFL content just like this. It's time to break down the X Factors. 5 for the Chiefs, 5 for the Niners. Let's begin with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl. They're going for the repeat. They had X Factors such as Nick Bolton, Kadarius Toney, Juju, Leo Chanel, some of their best performances. Isaiah Pacheco was one of them. From players that many people really didn't know or slipped under the radar. These are the players that will have to contribute for them to go back to back. So, the first of which, I've got Justin Reid. I really like Justin Reid. I think he's a phenomenal player. I always have, dating back to his Texans days. He is just a very well-rounded safety, and why I think he's so influential to Super Bowl 58 and the result is because he is going to draw one of the key one-on-one matchups in this game. He's likely going to see a lot of George Kittle in this game, and not only is he going to see a lot of George Kittle one-on-one in man coverage, he's likely going to see him down the field vertically. He's going to have to tackle him in space, and if he can make that tackle or miss that tackle, could make all the difference in a game-changing third down conversion, touchdown, or whatever, right? So Justin Reid is a huge player with that matchup with George Kittle. He is their tight end stopper. He is their go-to guy when it comes to covering the tight ends across the board. And then you have his ability to play in the box, where it's going to be so impactful for him to take on the block of George Kittle or him to be able to slice in and tackle Christian McCaffrey, his ability to read the screen game, his ability to read Deebo Samuel getting that screen pass and shooting in and making that stop. So Justin Reid is so impactful to the run game of the Niners, the pass game of the Niners, and the Chiefs' ability to stop it. If he is not very good in this game, if he cannot cover Kittle, if he cannot make that key tackle on Deebo or Christian McCaffrey, well, then the Chiefs are likely going to lose. This is a player that is overlooked, that is going to play a crucial role. Player number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs secondary receivers. I know this isn't one player, this is a group, and I have a few groups on this list for each team. But the secondary receivers, meaning it's not Rashee Rice, it's not Travis Kelce. Who else is getting the ball? Who else is going to make that play? MVS, Justin Watson, Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman. Who's it going to be? Gray? I don't know. But somebody's going to have to make a play. Clyde. Throw Clyde in there. The Glide. But who is going to make that catch at the key moment? When the Niners blitz and they play man, or when the Niners get a little aggressive. Can Mahomes trust a receiver down the field, Watson or MVS, to make that key catch? MVS has been that guy. Right? Every time it feels like the other team has been able to attack Mahomes and Mahomes has just chucked it up vertically, it's been MVS that's come down with that ball. You saw it against the Ravens, right? You saw it the previous week against Buffalo. Whenever Mahomes, a team has decided to blitz, he's gone to MVS. Maybe it's him. But Watson has also been that guy throughout this season as well. So those are the two ones I'd keep an eye on, but also, Gray is very impactful in this game in terms of the two tight end formations they may throw at the 49ers in terms of can he block and open up the run game? Can he maybe slip out for a couple catches? So there's a bunch of guys on Kansas City that are going to have to be involved in an influential role. They might not catch many passes. It might be 1, 2, 3, maybe at the most. But they're going to be big plays that could turn the tide of the Super Bowl. Next up, you got the Chiefs linebackers, another really key group of players. The Chiefs linebackers, I think one of the deepest and best groups in football, and they all play a specific role. You've got Nick Bolton, who's their mainstay, their leader, their middle linebacker. He is going to be big in terms of likely drawing the matchup out of the backfield of Christian McCaffrey. He's also their best tackler and their best run defender in this defense. He's very smart, and he's going to be covering the middle of the field, which is the area of attack for Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. So he's going to have to play a big role in zone, in man. He's going to have to play a big role shooting the run game. Bolton is as big of a player in this game as any player in this. I mean, really, everyone's going to talk about Fred Warner and talk about Dre Greenlaw on the other side at linebacker, but man, the way that the Niners attack is over the middle of the field, and they love to run the ball. So he is going to be hugely impactful in this game, whether he can make those plays or not make those plays. He is a little susceptible in pass coverage. So that's the area that he needs to up his game in order to come away as a Super Bowl champion. The other guys, Drew Tranquil is kind of a hybrid linebacker for them. I've always thought of him as more of a cover in space type of guy, but they actually like to play him at the end of the line of scrimmage. I wonder how he'll hold up in the run game. He's going to be big there. And then he's also a key blitzer for them in pursuing the quarterback. So whatever role that Spags decides to utilize him in could be a key one, as well as Willie Gay, who is another really good player. He's more of their cover linebacker. Maybe they decide to go with Willie Gay more often than not on Christian McCaffrey, or maybe they put him a little bit on George Kittle or Kyle Juszczyk. But we'll find out in the Super Bowl. He might be a big player coming off of injury. They missed him against the Ravens. And then, of course, Leo Chanel, who I think could play a big role in terms of stopping the run. The biggest weakness for the Chiefs defense is run defense. And the way that they like to prepare for it, they like to stack the box. They like to have 5 at the line, and they like to have their big linebackers get on the field. And Chanel is one of those, and his ability to come downhill and be a sledgehammer is going to be really impactful. But then he's got to be careful, because if he overplays the run, he's going to give up a big play action pass that Kyle Shanahan draws up at the right time. So Chiefs linebackers, I think, are absolutely huge in this game. Next up, you've got right tackle Jawan Taylor. Jawan Taylor is going to draw the assignment of Nicholas Bosa in this game, one of the best defensive ends in all of football. And Jawan Taylor has been the most penalized player in the NFL at the offensive line across the board, positions, the tackle position, period. So his ability to block Nick Bosa, period, his ability to get him in the run game, and seal the edge, his ability to not allow Bosa to win on pass downs, and his ability to not take penalties is going to be really impactful to this game, point blank, period. If they're able to trust Jawan Taylor on that right side without getting much of a double, that likely means the Chiefs win this game. But I would expect a lot of doubles, a lot of chips on Bosa, and a lot of help for Taylor. But I do think Taylor is going to have to be at least penalty, less, let's say, in this game. He can't be taking 2, false starts. He can't be taking a holding in a key moment, or else they're probably going to lose this game. So he's going to have to be on his toes in this matchup. Next up, and the last X factor. Throw up your X for the Kansas City Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco in the running game. And this one's probably the most impactful out of all of them. This one's a little bit more obvious, and a lot of people are going to bring this up, but Isaiah Pacheco, he is one of the 3 key pieces from a playmaker standpoint for the Chiefs. Run it with Pacheco, throw it to Rice or Kelsey. That's their offense a lot of the time. But their ability to run the ball has allowed them to have balance in this playoffs. Even though they haven't been super impactful in the running game, like the Ravens game, they had like 2.8 yards per carry, but it was still steady enough. It allowed them to close the game out, control the game, control possession early, especially their ability to hit explosives against the Bills and then pace the game against the Dolphins. That's what they'll look to do in this game again. The Niners have been really susceptible to the run in the playoffs so far, especially against Detroit, and Pacheco's going to have to be angry running downhill. He is very hard to tackle. If he can hit a couple explosives in this game and get some key conversions on 3rd and shorts, then that is going to be his role. I don't think he's going to catch the ball very much, maybe in a screen or 2, maybe in a check down or 2. He actually was split out wide against the Ravens early in that game, so maybe they'll throw him out there once again. But his ability to just get hard yards and his ability to potentially hit 1 or 2 explosive runs as David Montgomery, Aaron Jones, and Jahmyr Gibbs did, that could make all the difference in allowing Mahomes enough of balance to be successful in the passing game as well. So the running game for the Chiefs is absolutely huge, and stopping the running game for the Niners is absolutely huge, which is where we get to the Niners and the Niners X Factors. 5 X Factors for them to help them win the Super Bowl. When we talk about number 1, we've got to talk about Juice and Jennings, and you're probably like, whoa, these are 2 different players. Juszczyk, the fullback of the Niners. Shout out to, by the way, his wife, who's pretty awesome at making those, outfits and stuff. Like, shout out. I know she made one for Taylor Swift. But also Jawan Jennings, who's third and Jawan, because every time on third down when they go 11 personnel, they throw the ball to Jawan Jennings, it feels like. Every time it's third down, you got to know where Jawan Jennings is, which is such a difficulty because you've got to deal with Debo, you got to deal with Ayuk, you got to deal with Kittle, then you got to deal with McCaffrey, and then you got to deal with Jawan Jennings. But it feels like every third down, because he has the best matchup on the field, Purdy finds him and Purdy goes to him. And before that, Garoppolo would find him and Garoppolo would go to him. And Kyle often draws up these plays for him on third down. But when you're talking about these 2 players, I think it's a big thing because the Niners typically play 2 personnel sets. They play 21 personnel, which is 2 backs and 1 tight end, or they'll play 11 personnel, which is 1 tight end, 1 back, 3 receivers. So they rather have 2 receivers on the field with Kittle, Juszczyk, and McCaffrey, which is their base personnel where they can run or throw out of it. And they like that personnel because the tight end is really dynamic. The back is really dynamic as a pass catcher. And Juszczyk's also capable as a pass catcher. And if you give him an easy matchup at the linebacker position, he's actually able to route somebody up and make a play. Or we saw him last week get down the field, make a couple explosives. And he's also really, really good as a blocker. So he's a really influential player to the personnels and how the Chiefs are able to match up. And if he can win his route running and if he can win his blocks, then that's key to the game on the Niners side. And then on the other personnel set, you've got Jawan Jennings, who comes in for Juszczyk as the fullback to the slot receiver position. And he will likely draw the third corner of the Chiefs. And he is going to be impactful because of those key moments that are on passing downs where he has to convert or make a play. And he's shown time after time after time that he is clutch. So I would look for him to make a play in this Super Bowl. Next up, you've got the San Francisco defensive line, not named Bosa. I want to make that clear. Nick Bosa has been a beast all season long, all last season, all career for the 49ers, and he's also been an absolute monster in the playoffs. Been a key figure in the playoffs in key moments. But the rest of the defensive line has been shaky to say the least. That being said, there are some potential edges for the Niners that didn't exist versus the Lions or the Packers. The Lions and the Packers have 2 of the best pass blocking offensive lines and run blocking offensive lines in football. The Lions probably have a top 3 run blocking line and a top 3 pass blocking line. The Packers have a top 10 offensive line in general, and they're very balanced. And the Chiefs, obviously they have 2 of the weaker tackles in football. We talked about Jawan Taylor having to make the difference against Nick Bosa, but they're going to have to double Nick Bosa because Jawan Taylor is definitely outmatched in that matchup. You look at the left side, Donovan Smith, as somebody that watched a lot of Buccaneer games in the past, seems to make a critical error, whether it's get a missed block or a holding penalty at the perfect time for his team to hinder his team. And then you've got the interior, which was the best in football, but with Joe Thuney likely out of this game, that could allow Javon Hargrave or Eric Armstead or Javon Kinlaw to really take advantage of that left guard position in Nick Allegretti. So the defensive line for the Niners could actually have their best matchup they've had all playoffs long in the run and the pass game, which is where they really need to feast. They really need to take advantage. They need to come out of this bye week screaming, and they need to have their best performance of the playoffs with full effort. And it feels like at times they've been really, really good on critical plays. Eric Armstead and Hargrave specifically have come through along with Nick Bosa, but in other moments to start games, they've been really bad. So they need to be consistent. They need to be impactful. And I would look for rather Armstead or Hargrave especially to really be influential in this game. If they're able to get to Mahomes or push the pocket and make things difficult, then they could be a real difference maker, like an unsung hero in this game. But if they're being blocked up and they're not able to get and penetrate the run game or get home in the pass game, then the Chiefs are likely going to win. So the San Francisco defensive line outside of Bosa is just as impactful as Bosa himself. Next up, we've got right tackle Colton McKivitz, right tackle Jawan Taylor. We already discussed on the other side. Right tackle Colton McKivitz is also one of the biggest weaknesses in this game for the 49ers. His ability to pass block has been, a little up and down. Niners fans are very critical of their right tackle position because of how good, Trent is on the other side. So they just don't really know pressure on the other side, the blind side. But on the visible side for Brock Purdy, the throwing side, Colton McKivitz often sees the toughest matchups because teams typically try to overload that side, try to put their best pass rusher on that side. And it's likely that with Charles Omenihu out of this game that pretty much George Karlaftis is going to line up on Colton McKivitz the entire game. And you might also see Chris Jones line up on Colton McKivitz. So I think if Chris Jones is there, he's going to get doubled. And if Chris Jones stays on the inside, where he likely will in this game for a majority of the snaps, then Karlaftis might see a chip. But if McKivitz can actually hold up like he did against Aiden Hutchinson for much of the game, then that could be a huge difference maker and game changer for the Niners to be able to hold up in drop back pass situations. Remember, the Niners have had to come back in 2 straight games, and Colton McKivitz has actually played really well in the playoffs. So that's something that could be a really key matchup that is a weakness for the Niners that actually, if Karlaftis does not play really well, could be a key difference why the Niners are able to win this game. Next up, you've got safety Jair Brown of the 49ers. A lot of people probably don't know him because he's been a backup for a majority of the season. He's been replaced by Logan Ryan at times. He's been, obviously behind Hufanga at times. Tashawn Gibson is their other starting safety. But Jair Brown is somebody that screams off the tape at times for me. He's really athletic, very fast. He just needs to play really instinctive. I think at times he gets a little bit caught in his own head on what to do, and the Chiefs will take advantage of that if he's a little indecisive. But he might also draw at times man-to-man coverage against Kelce. If the Niners do go with man-to-man coverage in this game more often than they typically do, Brown would make some sense to defend Kelce because he is super athletic, super, fast, quick, and has got a pretty good size to him where he could match up physically with Kelce. He's very young, so I don't think he'd really be out physical in any way. It'd be more of a savviness type of thing. But Brown is also going to be really impactful in shutting down those lanes in the running game, in the run fits. His ability to get downhill and hit that run fit fast is going to be huge because that's why Hufanga has been so good for this team, because the Niners have played a lot of 2 deep and a lot of 7 in the box throughout this season, throughout last season. And what made them effective against the run was Hufanga and the linebackers' ability to fill gaps quickly and get downhill quickly. Brown's got to be decisive in the running game, and especially to the edges, fill those gaps fast. And the final X factor is Jake Moody, the kicker of the 49ers. He's been very inconsistent. He got a kick blocked. He also missed a field goal against Detroit. So he's missed a kick in each of their playoff games. And maybe Niners fans are saying, hey, miss another one. Maybe we could just make it 3 in a row and we'll win the Super Bowl. But the Niners probably don't want that. If this comes down to a key kick in the end and it's 45 yards, Jake Moody's got to make that kick. And it's going to all rest on the shoulders of the rookie. So the Super Bowl often comes down to 3 points. The Super Bowl often comes down to a key kick. Many people know what Harrison Butker is. He proved it time after time again. And he's been money for the Chiefs in their history. But Moody's a bit of an X factor. He's a bit of a game changer. Maybe he hits a 56-yarder. He certainly has the talent, but maybe he misses a 34-yarder. So you never really know with this kid. He could make all the difference in this game coming down to the last possession. Those are my X factors. Throw up the X for Super Bowl 58. Let me know yours in the comment section below. It's Mitch of the BLV. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.